Hey guys, so I just thought I'd kind of do a little video here about the 3rd Gen IC CE. As you can see on the screen, please make sure your volume is up because I cannot figure out on this program how to make the volume a little bit higher because I think it's as high as it'll go. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started. I have some notes here that I want to go over as I go through these pictures. So let's go ahead and go through. So here we've got the 3rd generation ICCE, or the next gen IC bus as they're calling it. I don't think they're officially calling it the 3rd generation, but it is the 3rd iteration of the CE, the next generation that is coming out now. So as you can see, most of the differences, I don't know if you can see my mouse here, most of the differences are, well, all of the differences are from here, so the driver's area, forward. Everything behind here, that is all the same. I do like the redesign. We did need a update after 20 years of the same design from 2005 to early 2025. So I guess that's really 21 years, but it's welcome. It is long overdue. We'll get into some of my other opinions on the redesign compared to the old one, the 2nd gen. We'll get to some of that later. But I do like the black window posts and window frames on this bus. I think it looks sharp. I've always, if I were already to spec one, whether it's a 3rd gen or a 2nd gen, I've always wanted to do that. That is a spec that I am a big fan of. Let's see. So here's another kind of 3/4 view of it. The hood's open here. There are pictures later of the hood closed, so I'll get my cursor out of the way there. But there we go. There's a front view with the hood open. And while we're here, the crossing arm, you can kind of see it's bent a little bit to fit the curvature of the bumper. Some people aren't really a fan of this. I mean, I'm fine with it. That's pretty much what we see with the C2 now. So, I mean, it's something I'm already used to because it's all my fleet is Thomas. I don't really have a whole lot of experience around 2nd gen CEs, but I have driven them before. Yeah. So there's the other side. You can see the one-piece door frames or one-piece window glass. There's no partition in the middle here. So, yep. The CE emblem seems pretty big on this bus, and I like that. I like the new design of this CE emblem, and I hope that it holds up. I hope that these colors don't fade or start scratching off easy or anything. I hope this holds up the way it is because that is a really neat design. And like I said, that emblem is pretty big. If you could see here, it looks a little bit bigger than the previous CE emblem. I believe the CE letters are probably about the same size as the old emblem. So the old emblem is probably about the size of the black area. Not as long, but about, something like this. So this emblem has some more size to it, and I like that. I wish they would have done something different with the back of the bus. Really, the only way you can tell a 3rd gen from the back compared to a 2nd gen is right up here, the little marker lights. We'll get into that later. We're going to compare the 3rd gen with the 2nd gen and the 1st gen. But the little DOT, or the, not, I guess they're dot, not really DOT, but dot, because they're just little dots, little marker lights there. That's about the only way you can tell the difference because they didn't start that until the 3rd gen. But I like how this bus is full LED. So we'll go ahead and go back here. I didn't get a straight on shot of the back because I think the bus behind it may have been in the way. But yeah, so the engine compartment is crammed like a Thomas C2, where they kind of shifted the cab over the engine compartment a little more to make it more, I guess, where they had to curve the windshield and they used the dash from a semi. I'll get into that later. But they kind of had to cram the engine compartment back to get more visibility. So that's something that was done with the MV truck, I believe. So it's just something we have to deal with now. But let's see, there's the other side. I do like how the coolant tank is very big and very easy to read right there. That is nice. The salesman had mentioned that I guess they're coming out with a piece to go about right here to kind of help protect everything back here and keep it from getting damaged. He said he's going to order one for this bus whenever he can, but that's something I guess they're going to be putting on the buses now. I'm not 100% sure on that though. So the driver's area is nice. It's still comfortable, but not as comfortable as the previous two generations. I think this one probably has the least comfortable driver's area out of any of the CEs, but it's still the most comfortable compared to like the C2 especially. I think the Vision is pretty comfortable. I just drove one of those for the first time the same day I drove this one. So this was at the state rodeo here in West Virginia. But I'd still say it is comfortable, just not as comfortable as the previous generations because they pulled this dashboard from the International LT, which is a semi-truck. So it wasn't really prioritized for school bus use. It was not designed with the intention of being used for a school bus, so like the previous generation. So it just doesn't pull it off as well as the first and second gens. Let's see. Here's a better view of the driver's area here. It's still, everything's still within reach. The parking brake should have been, the parking brake's right here. It should have been right here where the trailer brake is on the semis. Hope you can see my cursor here, but right here is what I'm talking about. Hope it's right here, or it should have been right here on the semis. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But the gear shift, I've always liked that. I've driven the semis, I've driven the MVs. The MV doesn't have this. The MV doesn't even have this wing dash, I think is what they're calling it. Does not have the curved dash. It just has a flatter dash, but at least the ones I've driven. But they have the traditional, like lever shifter like the CEs have had before. Or maybe they probably have the push buttons too. But I really do like this shifter a lot. This button right here that says OK and this little back button, this is all for the display on the dash right here. So that helps you navigate all of the features there. And we'll get into that here in a little bit too. I'm going to try and go in the order of my notes. The integration of this dash causes the curved windshield. This wiper has to be different. This one actually has the wrong wiper on it. It's supposed to have like a two-piece wiper to fit the curvature of the windshield. And it causes the extended passenger side mirror bracket. So that's why this sticks out so far, is because of this A-pillar and because the windshield is more curved. The previous generations had a flat windshield on them. So there's a better picture of the dash kind of from the front seat standing up. So that way you can get a better view of how everything integrates. But it's really a comfortable bus, just like I said, not as comfortable as the second gen or the first gen, in my opinion. The AM/FM radio is very nice. I really like that. I've just always really enjoyed that style of radio, and I think it's in a really good spot for the driver. Of course, it was prioritized for semi-truck use, so of course they're going to be messing with their radio more than a school bus driver is. But so they're going to need the radio location there more than they're going to need the parking brake location there. But I guess maybe the way things were set up behind all of this, they couldn't move the parking brake up here or over here, somewhere more convenient. Either that or they just wanted to cut costs and they didn't want to move it, which I also understand. The driver's seat, that is the best driver's seat I've ever experienced in a school bus. That is like a premium, like the most premium driver's seat I've ever seen. That belongs in a semi-truck where you're going to be going over the road all day. It's very comfortable. The cushioning is like a recliner. It has options for heat and a floating feature. So basically you pull a lever over, and as you're driving, whenever you're slowing down or speeding up or hit a bump or whatever, the driver's seat kind of rocks itself back and forth. Not like a rocking chair, but like it kind of goes on a slider. So it goes like forward and back, but not at a curved angle. It's like a flat forward and back. So that could be comfortable. My Bluebird Freightliner does that just naturally, I think. I don't even think it's a feature. I think it just does that. So a lot of people don't like it that do drive that bus, but I don't mind it so much. Let's see. Half the switch panel on the right here is kind of odd. I think we might get to that here in a moment, but Here's the um, build plate. 84 passenger. I think it's actually 83 maybe. Yeah, it's 83 passenger. I don't know why they put 84, but it's 77 passenger body. They just crammed more seats in there. PB 110, that is the designation there. Uh, October 10th of 2023. That is the build date there. So that's when they built this bus. There is all of the other information, like the VIN, the axle, gross axle weight rating, the tire and rim, the PSI it needs to have, and all that stuff. So there is the passenger area. Blue seats, one piece, gray floor, which I really liked in this one. I don't think I've seen anybody in West Virginia do that yet, so that was nice. Tinted windows, black window frames, really made it dark in there, and I like that. And all the dome lights are LED too, which is nice. Here's the passenger side switch panel. It's just a skinnier version of the second gen, pretty much. There's the door switch, so it's not on like a circular switch anymore. It's more like the C2 switch, which I've always really liked that design. That's more like the HDX switch, really. But I like how the flasher switches are up here. I've noticed how some people are complaining about that, but I actually really like that feature. Let's see. Here is more of the driver's area. There's a steering wheel. The steering wheel and the gauge cluster are nice. I really like how you have different display features through here. This is also pulled from the LT, but I really like that. Also, while I'm over here, the headlight switch is right here. So it is on off right there. There's auto. There's just daytime running lights, and there's the headlights. So when the switch is turned towards headlights, the back of it is turned towards the fog lights. And I'm not sure how this one is set up, but I know in the Freightliners you just pull back on the switch and the fog lights turn on. So I'm not sure if that is that way with this one, or if the fog lights just automatically come on with the headlights, or if you just want to turn the fog lights on if you just turn it all the way down. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but there we go. There's the switch panel, half of it being on the right. So it's really not a terrible design. It's just kind of odd because most of these switches in a normal bus would be on the left. Usually all you'd have over here is maybe like the exhaust brake, the trans mode, the off-road, the regen, and yeah, the red override and the low-high step-low heater are over here, which is interesting. It's weird this one has a red override switch instead of just a 3-position door switch, but whatever works, I guess. Also right here, plugs for your phone, and in the trucks they have one up here, but I guess they opted not to do that. I feel like that's a better spot for it in the bus anyways, but oh well. Now we're not blocking your parking brake. And right here is the PA mic. So I'm not sure exactly where AM, or not AM, FM, but like the two-way radios are going to go. There's the back of the inspection sticker. There's a driver's compartment over here, and as you can see with this latch that I'm holding on to, you kind of see it's a twist latch, so it's not just something you pull up. It's got a little latch down here you have to twist the knob into, so it's not going to come open while you're driving or anything. You have to twist the knob to open it, and that's nice. I like that. Let's see. The line tire chain boxes are nice because it keeps them from rotting, and it just looks neater. I like that look. Right here is a passenger mirror mount I wanted to point out here because I talked about that. So because of this, you cannot get cowl mounted signals. So like this bus back here, you can see there is a turn signal right here under the windshield. You cannot get that anymore on this because it mounts right there. So you can't get that anymore. So because of that, the West Virginia dealership, Worldwide Equipment, is starting to order these lights on the fenders. But he also told me that West Virginia is looking into making, I forget what they call them, but it's basically lights that go all the way around the bus at the roof, so no more stepwell light. There's going to be one above here, one around this clearance light, one around here, one on both sides of the bus, maybe even on the back, I'm not sure. but they're also putting one on the fender to shine down here whenever the doors are open, so that way the driver has a better field of view in the dark of where the kids are, which makes sense. But they said that basically it's mounting somewhere around here, so if you have to order that, then you can't order this. So I guess it's just going to have to stick with the turn signal that's in the headlight, which is unfortunate, but if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. There's another kind of 3/4 angle. Right here is a full on straight angle here. Another thing about this being a demo unit, there are some things that were, some corners that were cut because they were just trying to get these out the door, and so the school bus sign's a little crooked. I don't know if that's going to be fixed on the production models, but that is something to note. I would assume so. I think these are just kind of slapped together and sent out the door. But right here, the yellow grill. I do like the yellow grill, but I also prefer the black grill. I have not seen a black grill in person yet. This is just, this is really the only design I've seen with the yellow. The dealer does have 4 of these in stock for 3 different counties so far. So I guess we'll just have to see. I'll have to compare those. But as far as some of these production model things, but all of them have the yellow grill on them. So I assume that's just going to be how it is for a lot of the buses in the state, because I doubt very many places are going to be speccing a grill option. They probably just leave that to whatever the stock option is, which I believe in West Virginia is the way it's supposed to be anyway. It's supposed to just have the stock grill color, but I've seen some that do not. And there's another 3/4 view. Here's a comparison with a 2nd Gen CE from Marshall County, which is ironically where one of the new production models is going to be going to. This is 3221. The other one is 2581, I think. So that's neat. But this one is, you can kind of see the differences here. The grill, or not the grill, the hood is sloped a lot more on this one, so you can see a lot more. But right here, I kind of wanted to talk about the pre-production units versus the production units, so you can see some of the differences here. I do have another picture later to show this off a little better, but like the IC logo is still the new logo or the old logo. On the new ones, it's a little bit shorter and does not say Navistar. I like this older logo a lot better, which is unfortunate that it is this way, but I have no hand in the design of these buses or the choices they make, so I would have liked them to have continued using this one, but oh well. Also, you can see the drip trough here, or I guess more of a drip rail. It's not really a trough, but it is not even. That is something that is fixed on the production models. It's something the salesman told me when I went and looked back at the pictures a few days ago. It was fixed on those, so that was just something that the way that these demo units were. So a way you can tell one of the original demo units from one of the production units is this logo here. I don't think any of the production units have this, but maybe they do. This is a pre-production unit is what they call it. So here's a perfect side view of the 3rd Gen CE, which I really like the way this picture turned out. I think it kind of overexposed a little bit, but I do like the angle here. You can see how different it really is. I should have put a 2nd Gen picture like this in there, but oh well. Here's the driver's side. Just there. There's a vertical view of it, and there's a better view of the drip rail there. And now I'll just kind of slowly cycle through these pictures as I'm it's kind of like a stop motion thing, but I just got pictures of it as it was pulling up. But I got to drive this bus, and it drives very well. The visibility is the best out of any conventional I've ever driven up to this point. I really enjoyed driving this thing. It was nice. It drives very similar or drives very similarly to the current generation of International MV truck that it is based on, which I've driven a few of the trucks that were like the buses, and generally the trucks ride rougher and the buses ride a little smoother, but the MV truck drives very nice, and so does this one. They drive very similarly though, so if you're familiar with those, you'll pretty much expect how this one handles. So this one drives more like the MV than the C2 drives like the Freightliner M2, which is what that one's based off of. Has a smooth ride and a great turning radius. That's pretty self-explanatory. I only drove up to about 25 miles an hour in a parking lot, so I didn't really get to take this on the road or anything, but still very nice for what little I enjoyed. I got to drive it, and I filmed the whole thing and put it on YouTube already, so yeah. It's a very nice update to the second gen CE. Both the second and third gens have their own upsides and downsides. Like this one, I don't think the dash is set up better, but I do like the gauge cluster interface a lot better, and I like the driver's seat better. I really don't think this bus is better than the second gen, but I don't think it's worse. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a nice update, but I really don't think it's any better or any worse than what we had before. So let's see. I'm going to come in here, and we're going to go look at some pictures of a second gen CE just for a comparison. So let's get this all up here. Here's one from Mingo County. This is a 2012 model, but they used this design from 2005 until about 2025, so right up until the third gen was made. This is what the second gen CE looked like. Here's the back of it. You can see it's exactly the same, and what we were talking about with the little clearance lights earlier, basically the second gen still uses larger clearance lights back here. Some of them actually have another light right here, but that's if this one didn't shine bright enough. So if they used a specific light up there, they had to put another one here. But still, the third gen is the one that uses a little dot looking one. So that's really the only way you can tell from the back that I've been able to find so far. This one's from Ohio, but here's kind of a look at the driver's area. You can see the dash kind of wraps around a little better. The gauge cluster is a lot different. The steering wheel is a lot different. The steering on this one, or on these second gens, I think is smoother. Doesn't have as much resistance, but that's a matter of opinion whether you like that better or not. I like the smoothness of it better, but it does, the resistance does help whenever you're, like hit bumps and stuff. It's not likely to go all over the road. So here we go again. Here's a switch panel. This one was freshly retired, and I was about to drive one of these to the junkyard. But so you can see there's like the radio is missing there. But all of your switches were over here except for a few little things like let's see, I think that's the econ mode. And you had some kind of on the other side of the steering wheel. I think that's where the headlight switch was. But sometimes you had switches right here. Oh no, that's the two-way radio. The AM FM radio is right there. But there's your PA mic. Everything right there is about the same. The ignition. A lot of that stuff is kind of similar, but it's a lot different too. Like all of your switches are over here. And there's the door switch. I guess all your amber switches and your other stuff was all down here, which makes sense that people were kind of complaining about that, because I guess it is kind of a better resting position. But where the third gen is set up different, I think them being closer to the front is better. It's more like a C2. So let's get some first generation CE. I was about to say C2. Let's get some first gen CE picks up here. Here's Noah's 50 Busboy 501. So this is his bus. This is a first generation CE. This one's high headrooms. This is more comparable to like the second and third generations. This one, the body is still very similar to what we see today. Mainly just the roof caps are different, and the door, basically the driver's area, or everything forward of the driver's area is different, and in the back it's really only the roof cap and the back windows. But here's a first generation CE. They made this one from the 2001 to 2004 model years. Here's the other corner. So basically, all that's different in the second gen is they lengthen this window up to about here, right up here under this rivet line, and they changed the roof cap back here, and they also raised the door up a little bit too. They made the door a little taller, but and there's a side view of Noah's 50 compared to that third gen side view. Everything pretty much right here. So you can, no, I can't really mark it or anything, but everything with the passenger windows, that area is pretty much the same. There's some differences, but it's pretty much the same. Now this one is from Putnam County. It was sold in 2019, but this is another first gen CE. You can see the driver's area here is more in tune with the second gen. Wraps around the driver like it is designed for a school bus, unlike the third gen, which uses a semi truck dash. Also, I should mention for the third gen, I've heard that the doghouse, which is this area right here, can come off, unlike a C2, so you can actually access the back of the engine. But so even though that engine compartment's crammed, you should still be able to access it from inside. But you can see everything like the parking brake, the ignition, the shifter, everything there is all within the same kind of area, and it's all within reach. It's not way down here or anything. It's actually made for school bus use. So here's kind of a lower angle of that same driver's area. This was made more for a school bus. I think the first and second gens have a very comfortable driver's area. Third gen's not bad, but just not as good as the previous generations. Now, I have this picture included because here's the emblem here. I think that's about the same size as a CE emblem. So the new CE emblem is probably like out to here and probably about down to here. It's a decent size larger. I don't think the new CEs have this kind of line within the side panels anymore. I think they flattened all of that out. But let's go back to the third gen. Let's go back to a picture of the third gen. But I appreciate you all watching, and it's just kind of my thoughts on the third gen CE now that I've gotten the full experience, not just seeing one outside or seeing one walking around it, but I've actually got to drive one. I really like it. Like I said, I don't think it's really an improvement on the second gen, but I don't think it's any worse. I think that it is a welcome change. I am glad to see it hit the road. I think it has some very nice features that they did not or could not offer on the second gen. And I'm excited to see more of these hit the road. I just hope they change it before it hits the 20-year mark. I don't want to see this design for the next 20 years. But I guess that'll be it for this video. Tell me what you think. If you want to see the video of me driving it, I'll try to put it in the description, or you can just look on my channel and you'll probably find it pretty easy. But yep, that'll be about it. Thanks for watching.